So it's a great schus for me to address this virtual gathering. In normal days, in normal circumstances, we would bring thousands of people together. But these are not normal days, nor are they normal circumstances. So we take advantage of modern technology to address the people, to address the multitudes, and it's a big schus and a big privilege for me to be part of this great endeavor. We are in the midst of the 3 weeks, starting off Shavuos B'Tanis and reaching a tragic climax on Tisha B'Av. 3 weeks of mourning of Ahavas, remembering the destruction, Churban Beis Mikdosheinu V'Sifarteinu. You probably all remember a Ma'amar Chazal called Dor Shelo Yivne Beis Hamikdash B'Yamav. And if we would be sitting in the same Besmedrash, I would ask you to continue this Ma'amar Chazal. And I'm sure that many of you would say, Kol Dor Shelo Yivne Beis Hamikdash B'Yamav Kilu Charav B'Yamav. That is what people usually quote. But that quote is incorrect. It is to be found nowhere in Chazal. The proper quote is far more harsh, more troubling, more disturbing, and especially more demanding. The source is Yerushalmi in Yom Adafei. What Chazal actually say, Kol Dor Shelo Nivne Beis Hamikdash B'Yamav Malan Olav Ki'ilu Hu Echrivo. Because when we say Ki'ilu Charav B'Yamav, it happened, transpired. It is as if the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed in our days. Didn't just happen. Didn't just transpire. Somebody did it. So mother leaves the house for 10 minutes. She goes down to the local grocery to get some milk. By the time she comes back, 2 big windows are shattered and the floor is full of glass. And the children all together say, suddenly the window broke. And mom says, the window did not suddenly break. Someone did it. And I want to know who that someone is. So the Beis Hamikdash wasn't suddenly destroyed. Kol Dor Shelo Yivne Beis Hamikdash B'Yamav Maran Olav Ki'ilu Hu Echrivo. Someone did it. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to know, who is that someone? And that someone is me, you, each and every one of us. Maran Olav Ki'ilu Hu Echrivo. And that means we bear personal responsibility. We are liable. And we are the ones that bear responsibility. And if we do bear responsibility, what could we do to rectify what we did wrong? If we are the ones that bear responsibility for the Churban Bayis, we should be the ones that bear responsibility to rebuild the Beis Hamikdash. How does one do that? So the Navi Zechariah says, Tzom HaRevi'i v'Tzom HaChamishi, Tzom HaShvi'i v'Tzom HaAsiri, Yehiyu leBeis Yehuda l'Sosen u'leSimcha u'leMoedim Tovim, V'hu Emes v'Hashalom Ahavu. What does the ratio of this posuk have to do with the Sefer? So the first part of the posuk obviously is an expression of hope, a promise, a blessing. These tragic days of mourning, 4 days that are all associated with the Churban. Churban Beis Mikdosheinu V'Sifarteinu will ultimately, at the end of days, be transformed into days of joy, of festival. And you will ask, when will that be? The Navi says, I cannot tell you when it'll be. I could tell you how it will come to be. The question when is up to you. Vahu emes v'hashalom ahevu. In order to bring forth the Geula and rebuild the base of Mikdash, we must understand what caused the Churban. What were the origins? What brought about the destruction of the base of Mikdash? And only by this understanding the Churban could we understand and appreciate the future binyan of the base of Mikdash. So there are two Gemaras. One is in Adoram Pei Aleph, and we find this Gemara in Bava Metzia as well. Alma of the Haaretz. Why was the land lost? Davazel Nishalach HaChomim L'Neviim L'Malachi Ashoras V'Lo T'Shuva. Ad she'Kodesh Baruch Hu, till HaKodesh Baruch Hu himself explained. Al Azba Misterosi Shalei Baruch Hu B'Torah Tchila. And the great Rabbeinu Nissim Daran, Nedoram Pei Aleph, explains Torah wasn't enough precious in their eyes. They didn't love Torah. They lacked passion for Talmud Torah. And ultimately that brought about Churban Beis Hamikdash. That pasuk refers to Churban Bayis Rishon, what brought about the destruction of the Bayis Sheni. So that's a Gemara, Yomed of Tes and Bavli, Yomed of Dalad and Yerushalmi. In the times of the second Beis Hamikdash, they were diligent in their observance of mitzvahs. They all learned Torah. It was Sinas Chinam that brought about the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash. So when we sit and mourn in the 3 weeks, we must understand that these are days not only of remembrance, of mourning, but also of cheshbon nefesh, because Chazal say in Malan, Olav ki'ilu hu echrivo. And if we are the ones that bear responsibility, it is upon us to do our utmost to rebuild the Beis Hamikdash that we destroyed. And how is that to be done? By redevoting every fiber of our being to Talmud Torah, to our Batzas Torah, to Kviyas Item Torah, to the love of Torah. And we must understand that it's only Torah study that can guarantee our future. Going back to the days of the Churban, the Gemara Masechet Gittin tells the story when Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, the greatest leader of that generation, when he finally got to meet Aspasianus Caesar, the Roman general, the Roman warrior and commander. And Aspasianus develops a liking of Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. Kodesh Baruch Hu gave him chaim. And Aspasianus tells Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, make a wish and it will be granted. Make a request and it'll be given. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai asks for one thing, Ten li yavna v'chachameo. With this profound wisdom, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai knows that the Beis Hamikdash is not to be. It will be destroyed. The Kahuna will lose most of its relevance. If there is no Beis Hamikdash, then the Kahuna is not that relevant. The Nesius will be abolished because we're going into Golus. The only institution that could guarantee the future of Klal Yisrael is Yavne v'Chacham Meha. So what sometimes when I am confronted in Israel, in our discussions with non-from scholars, and sometimes we are described as Hayudi Hagaluti, that we are Goddess Jews, and I say, No, we ain't those Jews. We are Yavne Jews. We continue the tradition of Yavne v'chachomeo. And the sage of Yochanan ben Zakkai understands that the only thing that can guarantee our future is Yavne v'chachomeo. The yeshivas, Botei Medrash, the study of Torah. So I once again want to share with you a story I shared many, many times, especially since my late father passed away 5 years ago. My father first met the Kloisenberg Rebbe in Auschwitz-Birkenau, second day Shavuos, 1944. My father and his family arrived one day earlier. First day Shavuos, that very same day my father lost his grandfather, grandmother, father, mother, 5 of his siblings. They went up in smoke in the chimneys of Auschwitz that very first day. The great Sanza Rebbe arrived one day later, and he too lost most of his family, his wife and 10 children that very same day. My father didn't know the Sanza Rebbe, but he approached him, and he said what a big schus it is for him to be close to the Rebbe and get to know the Rebbe. And the Rebbe frowned on him and he said, Bocha, the mindset that up is helfen, said the Gunish helfen. I'm afraid most of you don't understand what I just said, so I will translate. The Rebbe frowned on my father, who was an 18-year-old boy, a youngster, a teenager. And he said, young boy, if you think it's going to do you any good, it's not going to do you any good. To which my father responded, of course it's going to do me good. We could talk in learning. And the Rebbe was taken aback. Obviously, he didn't expect to hear that statement from a young 18-year-old boy that just lost his entire family. And the Rebbe asked, young boy, you're in Auschwitz and you want to talk and learning? To which my father responded, yes, of course I do. Because otherwise, how will we prevail? How could we survive? So my father intuitively felt in the depth of his heart, if we won't talk and learning, we're not going to make it. That is what Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai felt more than 2,000 years ago. We got to talk and learning. As long as we learn, we exist. We learn, so we exist. That is paraphrasing René Descartes. Cogito, ergo sum. That is our nature. As long as we stick to Torah, we will make it. So the first Beis Hamikdash was lost for lack of passion for Torah. It will be rebuilt by redevoting and rededicating our efforts to Abba's Torah, to teach Torah and to study Torah. The second Beis Hamikdash was lost for sinas chinam. It will be rebuilt by Ahavas chinam. Talmidei Chachomim Marabim Shalom B'Yolam. It is our challenge in this generation to bring people together, to bring them all into the same tent. Every Jewish soul, every Jew is precious. And there's a spark in every Jewish heart that will never be extinguished. We need to love them all and try to do our best to bring them all together. So the second Beis Hamikdash was destroyed because of sinas chinam. They learned Torah. They were extremely diligent in their observance. That there was a lack of Yohavto l'reachu kamoicha. In the days of Rebbe Akiva, tragedy stuck because his disciples lo nahagu kavod zeh b'zeh. Love and respect are the two pillars of a proper, decent Jewish society. And we need to respect even those that we have difficulty loving. So on the days of Rebbe Akiva, tragedy struck and 24,000 Talmidei Chachamim perished in a very short period. Not because they didn't love each other. Maybe they did. But Chazal say, Lo nahagu kavod. So in our day and in our age, in our time, it is our challenge and our goal and our obligation to bring people together in the tent of Torah, to teach, to inspire, to motivate, to love, and to respect each other. The great Hasidic master, the Noam Elimelech, Rebbe Elimelech Melechenskin's very famous prayer, Tefillah, damens to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Tein b'libeinu shenir'eh kol echad maris chavereinu v'lo chisronam. We should always see the beauty of every fellow Jew, the beauty of his character, the beauty of his neshama, v'lo chisronam. That's my tefillah, and that's my bracha to all of us. In these tragic days of mourning, we should do our utmost, each and every one of us, to love, to respect, to teach, to inspire. V'malach ha'aretz deo es Hashem k'mayim liyam mechasa. So the Navi says, I promise you, at the end of days, when will it be? Emes is Torah. Ein emes elu Torah. And the Torah is Torah's emes. And that is Chisamei Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When you will love Torah, and you will love peace, and you will be of those Talmidei Chachamim Amar B'Shalom B'Yolam. It is then, and only then, that you will be blessed, and we will be Zaycha all together. Tzayim HaRavi, v'Tzayim HaChamishi, Tzayim HaShvi, v'Tzayim HaAsiri, Yihu leBeis Yehuda, l'sasoin u'lesimcha, ולמיידים טובים בביאס משיח צדקנו במהרה ויומנו